Our staff and we've spent countless hours reviewing these events internally. As the sheriff indicated, we've reviewed the recordings separately with the Sheriff's Office command staff and with the Michigan State Police investigative team. In all instances, each review determined that the actions taken by the dispatch staff, given the information available to them, aligned with current processes and protocols set forth during critical events.
During that time, from the time when he was disabled and this active shooter is going on, the director's absolutely right. We were under a code 10, all officers. What that is when you're involved in a critical incident of shooting, no radio traffic unless it's an emergency. And I want you to think about these dispatchers that are sitting downstairs. They don't have the luxury of being able to see what's going on. And they're getting these calls, right? They're taking these calls. How many dispatchers did you have working that night?
We had 8 or 9.
8 or 9. Let's say 9.
10.
Let's give it
10.
10.
10
dispatchers working. They're responsible not only for fire, wreckers, everything going on that night in the police, and they have this critical incident. During this whole time, they're taking these other 911 calls, plus there are calls in Oshtemo, there are calls in Comstock, everywhere else. So all these dispatchers are all over, and they're doing the best they can do to answer these calls. During this time, they got a code 10. You're focusing on the fact that it was the first time he was status checked. That was because it was the first indication there was anything wrong. Okay, you got to take it from their perspective that they're getting these 911 calls. They're saying, yeah, there's this car. And I will be honest, I've been in a lot of pursuits in my 21 years. You get disabled and you pull off to the side, or you stop where you're at and you do jump in with another officer to help out and lock your car, or you stay in the car, or you're outside the car checking on around for evidence. So, we can sit here and judge all day, but frankly, from our investigation on the criminal side, there's only one person to blame in this, and I won't even say his name, but it's the murderer. It's the killer that killed Sergeant Proxmire, and other than that, everyone seemed to do what was right.
Conversations do lead to ways of looking at things, and we look at our written directives or policies to be generalizations of situations and how to handle them. If we were to dial down and try to give somebody an exact on how to react in every circumstance, then you would have people that could not make decisions. And that is not what law enforcement is. We train professionals, same as dispatch, to do a job that is a critical situation and to react according to their training at that time. And that's what we have found throughout this entire incident. And so again, the conversations have been really good to help people understand that there are things that maybe you could change or maybe we could do differently. But again, hindsight 2020 is a wonderful tool that you do not have the luxury of during an event.
We have a communications and operations work group for both our law enforcement and our fire operations, and they review policies, procedures, and we just met this last week, and no changes are being made.